श्री गुरुदेव कृपाल की बलि।
हम सदा श्यामा गुरु पादारविन्दयो तस्य प्रेरणया तस्य दिव्यादेशं वदाम्यहम्। पादाश्रितानां च समस्तचौरम् श्रीराधिकाया हृदयस्य चौरम् नीलाम्बुजश्यामल कान्तिचौरम् चौराग्रगण्यं पुरुषं नमामि। चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहा दावाग्निर्वापणम् श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणम् विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदम् पूर्णामृतास्वादनम् सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते। श्रीकृष्ण संकीर्तनम्। यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रणोति तस्मै तद्ब्रह्म देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशम् मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। The divine souls will have a few minutes of Nam Sankirtan, and after that we'll continue with the topic of the divine descension of Sri Kripaluji Maharaj. Turn this up a little. राधे 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 श्री राधे। राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे श्री राधे।
राधे श्री राधे।
राधे राधे राधे।
राधे राधे राधे।
राधे 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 श्री 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 राधे।
ओ राधे श्री राधे।
ओ राधे श्री राधे।
ओ राधे राधे राधे।
राधे राधे राधे।
राधे 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 श्री 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 राधे।
राधे श्री राधे।
राधे श्री राधे।
राधे राधे राधे।
राधे राधे राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
राधे 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 श्री राधे।
ओ राधे 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 श्री Radhe 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 Shri Radhe
Radhe Radhe Radhe Shri Radhe
Radhe Shri Radhe
Radhe Shri Radhe
Radhe Radhe Radhe
Radhe Radhe Radhe
Radhe Radhe Radhe Shri 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 Radhe
Shrimat Satguru Sarkar ki
Jai.
Yesterday, I explained about the significance of Mahaprayan in relation to not only Shree Maharaj Ji's appearance and disappearance, but Shri Krishna's as well. And I told you that everything about a divine descension happens in a pre-planned way. The avatar itself, the appearance itself is pre-planned. All the leelas that happen while Shri Krishna is here are orchestrated by his divine will. And his disappearance or his Mahaprayan, his return to his divine abode, is also pre-decided. It's a divine leela. Shri Krishna came at the behest of the Devtas for, among other reasons. He appeared in front of Devaki and Vasudev and celebrated his birthday the next day in the house of Nanda Baba and Yashoda. He spent 125 years on our earth. And once he had accomplished all he had come to accomplish in that avatar, he was again thanked and worshipped by the Devtas, and with great ceremony and great fanfare, he was welcomed back to his divine abode. Not that he ever left, but from our point of view, it's like he came and he went back. So the Devtas again came and worshipped him before he left, and then he vanished, leaving the earth. Now, although he's omnipresent, but he's unseen in the style that he's seen during his avatar. In somewhat a similar way, Jagadguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj had a pre-planned appearance. His name, Kripalu, was not just imagined by his mother. It would have been a pre-decided divine decision that he would be called Kripalu. The time of his avatar was decided. He appeared at exactly midnight of Sharad Purnima, the same exact time that Maharas happened 5,000 years previously. The place where he appeared, what is now called the village of Mangar, is at a place where Gangaji used to flow in those days of Bhagwan Ram's days. Rivers tend to shift in their bed over time. Even nowadays, Yamuna Ji does not flow in the same exact place that she did when Shri Krishna and Radharani were here on earth. So in those days, millions of years ago when Bhagwan Ram was here, Mangar village would have been on the bank of Gangaji. And there's even a place which is understood to be the actual Shringverpur in Mangar itself. So it's in this place that the divine descension of Jagadguru Shree Kripaluji Maharaj took place in a pre-planned, divinely orchestrated manner. And the secret of his prakatya was only known by Bhagavati Maya, his divine mother. How he appeared, only she knows. After that, in much the same way that Shri Krishna had certain phases in his life and many goals that he came to accomplish while he was here, Shree Maharaj Ji revealed different facets of his personality and accomplished many purposes that he had come to accomplish when he took avatar. At a very young age, one thing he did was reveal something called Mahabhav. When Radha Krishna had come in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji, at the end of his life, Mahaprabhuji entered into Mahabhav, revealing a state that only Radharani enters into. The 8 symptoms of divine love, or Satvik Bhav, are described by Mahaprabhuji's disciple, Rup Goswami, in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Stambha Svedotha Romancha Svarbhedotha Pathu Vaivarnyamashru Pralaya Ityashtau Satvika Smrita. Those 8 Satvik Bhav are becoming absolutely still. And these are all due to the effect of the bliss of divine love. So Stambha, becoming completely still. Sveda, having sweat come profusely from the pores of the body. Romanch, having the hairs of the body stand on end. Swarbheda, when chanting the divine names of Radha Krishna, having the voice not just become choked with emotion, but actually change in quality and tone, almost like a different person is singing. Vepathu, trembling of the entire body. Vaivarnya, a change in complexion, like becoming very pale all of a sudden. Ashru, profuse tears streaming from the eyes. And pralay, unconsciousness. There are other subtle, you can say, mixes of all of these 8 symptoms of divine love. But these are, you can say, mote taur par. These are the 8 symptoms of divine love. So, towards the end of his avatar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji revealed, although he was always the form of Mahabhav, but he externally revealed these 8 symptoms of divine love. And when they all appear simultaneously in one personality, that is called Mahabhav. Premera, ahladini shaktera paramasar taro prema naam. Premer paramasar sei Mahabhav jani. Mahabhav Roop Radha Thakurani. Sei Mahabhav Roop Radha Thakurani. Mahaprabhuji himself revealed, He's quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita as saying that the essence of the power of bliss, Ahladini Shakti, is the power of divine love, Prema Shakti. And the essence of Prem is Mahabhav, and the actual form of Mahabhav is Radha Rani. That Mahabhav is only revealed in the personality of Radha. Mahaprabhuji revealed that Mahabhav by whether it was during chanting, while chanting Haribol, dancing in ecstasy. He revealed all these symptoms of divine love in the way that only Radha does when she enters into that state of Mahabhav. So Mahaprabhuji, those who know this devotional philosophy, it was absolute proof to them that Mahaprabhuji is none other than Radharani. And after his avatar, many saints have written about that, which further corroborates who he was. So, whereas he revealed that towards the end of his avatar, you can say that Jagadguru Shree Kripaluji Maharaj started where he left off at a very early age. At the age of 16, Maharaj Ji began revealing that state of Mahabhav in his personality. And for several years, he remained almost always absorbed in that state. So this was something that he came to reveal on the earth. He came to grace the earth planet with this divine vibration of Mahabhav, to reveal that among the souls on this earth. After a few years of remaining mostly in this state, at the request of some highly evolved devotees, Shree Maharaj Ji began giving a more formal satsang where he actually began visiting people's homes and leading kirtan programs, singing Hare Ram, entering into Mahabhav state again and chanting Haribol and dancing in that state of ecstasy. This was the next phase of Shree Maharaj Ji's life, where he formally did chanting programs and graced the devotees all over India with the divine bliss of his chanting, the divine bliss of his voice as he chanted. In the next phase of his life, Shree Maharaj Ji began to reveal the scriptural knowledge. This is a story of Shree Maharaj Ji's life that Maharaj Ji himself has mentioned at times, and older devotees mentioned who were present at that time, that Maharaj Ji used to take quote-unquote rest in the afternoon. And the devotees would sometimes wonder that it seemed like there were other voices coming from inside the room where Maharaj Ji was resting. Well, Maharaj Ji called that his office time. So one day, a devotee got up the courage to ask Maharaj Ji, what's going on during your office time? You're in there alone, but we hear all different voices. So Maharaj Ji said that you know that the scriptures of Sanatana Dharma have divine personal forms. The Vedas, all the Richas of the Vedas have divine personal forms. The Purana have divine personal forms. Darshan Shastras have divine personal forms. So he says they come and they discuss about the state of Kali Yuga and how distorted the actual philosophy of those scriptures has become, how twisted and tormented, how twisted the philosophy has become, and how tormented these divine scriptures are because of their misrepresentation. So they're beseeching me to do something. After this time, Shree Maharaj Ji again changed his behavior. He was gradually, although in his early days, he was staying more in that state of bhav, he began to slightly control it so that he could do proper Sankirtan programs in people's homes or have extended programs in different locations. Then he began controlling it more so that he could give talks to devotees and explain the devotional philosophy or answer questions. So he began to reveal the philosophy informally, but then after this instance that I just referred to, Maharaji began to reveal the philosophy formally. You would have heard of the great Sammelan, the great religious conference that Maharaji arranged first in Chitrakoot and in 1955, and the following year in Kanpur in 1956. In both of these conferences, Maharaji began lecturing publicly. In Chitrakoot in 1955, it was his first ever public lecture. The devotees had never seen him lecture publicly, and in fact, they had never heard him quote so extensively from the scriptures. He explained philosophy for hours at a time to the devotees, but did not worry about giving quotations or, providing references for the philosophy that he was sharing. But he began quoting hundreds and thousands of shlokas and mantras and sutras from all the different scriptures. So this was the next phase of Shree Maharaj Ji's life, formally revealing the knowledge of the scriptures of Sanatan Dharma, untwisting the knot of confusion that had grown in the age of Kali Yuga by the misrepresentation of these scriptures by unqualified teachers and preachers. And because of this, because of the unique and unparalleled way that Maharaji represented this philosophy, as you know, he became Jagadguru. So Shree Maharajji's becoming Jagadguru, his revealing the devotion, the philosophy of our scriptures, this was also not some kind of random happening or just something that happened by chance in Maharaji's life. In such a divine descension, such things are pre-planned. This was one of the things that Maharaji would have decided, that in this avatar, I'm going to accomplish this goal in this way. When he became Jagadguru, it was we call na bhuto na bhavishyati. Something that had never been seen before, nor something that was likely to happen again in the near future. Although there had been 4 Jagadgurus before Shree Maharaj Ji, but Maharaj Ji was called Jagadguru Dham, the Supreme Jagadguru. His full title gives some insight into what made Maharaj Ji's becoming Jagadguru different than the previous 4 Jagadgurus. First of all, he is called, this is his whole title, it starts with Shrimat Padavakya Pramana Paravarina, which in gist means whatever he says is perfectly in alignment with the scriptures, and his each and every phrase or sentence, whether spoken or written or even made in one of his kirtans, each and everything he says can be proven by scriptural quotations. Pramana means evidence. Nothing he says, not a single statement he makes in speech, in writing, or in chanting is just spoken or just said like that. Everything is based on the scriptures. Veda Marga Pratishthapanacharya. He is the great Acharya who established or re-established the true path of the Vedas, mentioned in the Bhagavatam as by Shri Krishna, Dharmo Mat. In Bhagavatam, Shri Krishna gives a very simple description of Dharma. Kalena nashta pralaye varniyam veda sangita adau brahmane proktam dharmo yasyam madatmakah. Dharma is that through which the souls establish their mind in me and come to me, attain me. So Shree Maharaj Ji re-established this original path of the Vedas, which is none other than bhakti. Bhakti revainam nayati, bhakti revainam darshayati, bhakti revainam pashyati, bhakti vasha purusho bhakti reva bhuyasi. Ved tells that only through bhakti can God be attained. And the essence of all the practices of Vedas, sarve veda yat padamamananti kathopanishad. All the mantras of all the Vedas are all trying to guide a soul to reach God. How? Vedavyasji says, idamekam sunishpannam dhyeyo narayano hari. Vedavyasji did manthan of all the scriptures. He went through Vedas, Puranas, Darshan Shastras over and over again to try to find out what is the essence of all of this ocean of knowledge, and he came out with one single thing. Loving remembrance of Shri Krishna is the essence. Doing Roop Dhyan of Radha Krishna is the essence. That and nothing else. If you do that, you've fulfilled all the guidelines of the Vedas. You've done every pujan. You've done every Vedic karma. You've followed all the do's and don'ts as long as you lovingly remember Radha and Krishna. So this is Veda Marga Pratishthapanacharya. Maharaj Ji re-established the true path of Vedas to God. Nikhila Darshan Samanvayacharya. He reconciled the apparent contradictory statements of different scriptures and past Jagadgurus and great Acharyas of our history. If someone were to scan through all the teachings of our scriptures and historical saints and try to catalog all the teachings, it would be just a knot of confusion, because some scriptures say to do this, some say to do that. Even within one single scripture, there are apparent contradictions, and saints, well, they also have a lot of variation in what they have taught. And it appears to someone that this is very confusing and contradictory. But Sri Maharaj Ji, through his lectures and later through his writings, he actually reconciled all of this. Just for example, in some scriptures, there are descriptions of formless God. In other scriptures, or even in the same scripture, there are descriptions of the personal form of God. or in certain cases within one single mantra, there's a description of formless God and God with form. Esha atma parhita papma vijaro vimrityur vishoko vijighatso pipasah satyakama satyasankalpa. Chandogyopanishad has one such mantra. So people have argued. Saints have also taken one side or another through history, that God is without form or God has a form. And Shree Maharaj Ji said, no, there's no contradiction here. God is both formless and with a form simultaneously. At some places in our scriptures, it says that the world is fake, it's an illusion. And at other places, it is said that the world is real, it's a fact. And saints have also taken one side or the other through history. And Shree Maharaj Ji said, no, there's no contradiction because there are two worlds. There's the inner world and the outer world. The outer world is a product of God's power, Maya, Guna Maya. God is real, His power is real, and the outer world is real. But our inner world is the creation of Jiva Maya. It exists, this inner world of attachments, love, hate, desires. It exists on the basis of ignorance because we have forgotten our identity as the soul. And because of that, we create this inner world of desires and attachments, but it's not real. It's ever-changing, and it can also be eliminated. So, wherever saints or scriptures have said that the world is illusory, they're referring to the inner world. And wherever saints and scriptures have said the world is real, they were referring to the outer world. In this way, there are dozens of examples where Shree Maharaj Ji took a debate which has raged for thousands of years, and he elegantly reconciled it with the simple philosophy of our scriptures, something that had never been done before. So this is why he had the title Nikhila Darshan. Nikhil means all. And darshan means all the different viewpoints of the saints and scriptures. Samanvay Acharya. He was the Acharya who reconciled all these various views. Sanatana Vedic Dharma Pratisthapana Paramacharya. He is the Acharya who established the true lineage, the true sampradaya. Again, there are hundreds and thousands of different lineages being promoted in the world nowadays, different sampradaya. And in many cases, in most cases, there's whatever sampradaya someone belongs to, they feel, I am right, and these other sampradaya are wrong. And sometimes they even debate and argue amongst each other. So Shree Maharaj Ji explained that there are actually only two sampradaya. Tayoh shreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati hiyaterthadya upreyo vrinite kathopanishad. There are only two paths. Shreya marg, when you attach your mind to God, you go towards God. And Preya Marg, when you strive for worldly pleasures, you attach your mind in the world. In other words, you're going towards Maya. So one path takes you towards Shri Krishna, one path keeps you in Maya. Therefore, there are only two sampradaya. Are you following teachings that take you towards God? Then you belong to Shri Krishna's sampradaya. Are you following teachings that keep you in Maya? You are following the Mayak Sampradaya. So there's no need to refer to Shankaracharya's Sampradaya or Nimbarkacharyas or Vallabhacharyas or Ramanujacharyas or Madhvacharyas and have that pride, I belong to this Sampradaya. All the Sampradaya, all the divine Sampradaya originate from none other than Shri Krishna himself. So they all belong to the same sampradaya. So Maharaj Ji reestablished this fact and didn't start his own sampradaya, didn't initiate any disciples, didn't try to create a following by giving mantra and starting his own sampradaya. He said there's no need for any of this. Keep it simple. Just do what takes you towards Shri Krishna. So he's the Paramacharya. He's the supreme preceptor of the original lineage coming directly from Shri Krishna. These are all titles given by the Kashi Vidvat Parishad, who asked Shree Maharaj Ji to accept this title of Jagadguru. Bhakti Yoga Rasavatar. Bhakti is another word for prem. So you already heard Ahladini Shaktera Paramasar Taro Premanam. Premera Paramasar Sei Mahabhava Jani. Sei Mahabhava Rupa Radha Thakurani. So he is the avatar of bhakti, or he's the avatar of prem. And ras. Raso vai saha. Taittiriya Upanishad says that Shri Krishna himself is ras. Radharani is prem. Shri Krishna is ras. And yog means the combination of the two. Bhakti Yoga Ras Avatar. This is what Kashi Vidvat Parishad called Shree Maharaj Ji. Bhagavadananta Shri Vibhushit Swami 1008 Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. This is his full title given to him by Kashi Vidvat Parishad. And apart from that, they wrote a whole Padya Prasunopahara. It means like instead of giving a garland of flowers, they wrote a garland of shloks to show their appreciation to Sri Maharaj Ji. And in there's one line where they call him Jagadguru Tam. Uttam means the foremost, highest of all the Jagadgurus. Because none of them had accomplished this reconciliation of all the previous teachers and saints and scriptures. That was one of the reasons. So you can imagine when these previous four Jagadgurus, Shankaracharya, Nimbarkacharya, Ramanujacharya, and Madhvacharya, they are known to be the avatar of Bhagwan Shiv, Balram, Hanumanji, and Sudarshan Chakra. So when Maharaj Ji is being hailed as the supreme Jagadguru of all the Jagadgurus, so you can make your own calculation as to who Sri Maharaj Ji must be. But my point in all of this is to explain that everything about Sri Maharaj Ji's life must have been preordained, pre-planned. Although it's all far beyond our intellect, but we can at least just appreciate and have faith that everything in Maharaj Ji's life happened for a reason and was all done to grace us. So becoming Jagadguru was the next phase of Sri Maharaj Ji's life. After that, Maharaj Ji traveled and continued to spread the knowledge of Sanatana Dharma through giving formal lectures. And he spread and distributed the bliss of bhakti through his satsang. And his satsang was available in so many creative forms, whether it be a formal speech, an informal lecture, a question and answer, sitting and doing kirtan and Maharaj Ji revealing lines, making up shero shairi and regaling the devotees with his poetic compositions in Urdu, or telling stories, telling jokes, playing games with the devotees. In so many different ways, Maharaj Ji gave his divine association and distributed the bliss of Radha and Krishna. In addition to that, even if a person were just to look at the devotional literature that he revealed, aside from his lectures that he gave to Kashi Vidvat Parishad, or his Main Kaun Mera Kaun lectures, or his Premras Siddhant, or Bhakti Shatak, all these scholarly works of his. In addition to that, or aside from that, we have Premras Madira, we have 4 volumes of Prajras Madhuri, we have Yugal Shatak, we have Yugal Madhuri, we have Yugal Ras, Shama Sham Geet, Radha Govind Geet, all these musical, poetic compositions of Shree Maharaj Ji, where he is actually, what is he doing when he revealed that? He's revealing material for us to use for remembering Radha and Krishna. So he provided all the material, a treasure house of material for hundreds and thousands of years to come, which will benefit millions and billions of devotees who will be looking for ways to engage their mind in remembering Radha and Krishna. So this is another part of Sri Maharaj Ji's legacy. He left behind this wealth of devotional material for us. And on top of that, with his inspiration, Prem Mandir was built, Bhakti Mandir was built, Bhakti Bhavan, Prem Bhavan, 3 charitable hospitals in Barsana, Mangad, Vrindavan, the charitable school in Kunda. All of these institutions that will go on serving humanity and inspiring devotees for centuries and millennia to come. None of this happened haphazardly or by accident. Although I'm sure there are certain things that happen in the life of a divine guru which are somewhat up in the air based upon the karma of the souls, how much benefit souls are taking or not taking, and what actions they're doing. But these major overall accomplishments would have all been divinely orchestrated as a part of Sri Maharaj Ji's time here on earth. And similar to how Shri Krishna was greeted again by the Devi, Devtas, Brahma, Shiva, that you've done so much for us, you've accomplished everything that you set out to accomplish here, so if it seems right to you, you're welcome to return to your divine abode. We don't know what type of process took place in the life of Sri Maharaj Ji, but at a certain point, it was decided that it was time for Maharaj Ji's avatar to finish. We call that the Leela Samvaran, which means the visible aspect of Maharaj Ji's Leelas was brought to a close. And we call it Mahaprayan because in one sense, he's leaving the earth, he's departing. However, we can understand on a deeper level that Maharaj Ji is still here. Just like Shri Krishna is still here, because there are 2 types of Leelas that happen. There are Vyavahariki Leelas, when Shri Krishna takes avatar and he makes his form visible to material eyes, we call that his avatar. All the Leelas he performed during his avatar, they're called Vyavahariki Leelas. However, his Leelas are eternally happening and they're omnipresent. Those are called the Vastavi Leelas. when a saint leaves this earth, they enter into those Vastavi Leelas. So Shri Krishna and Radharani's Leelas are always happening. They're omnipresent. Just like they're omnipresent, their Leelas are omnipresent. Similarly, Shree Maharaj Ji has not left us. We use the term Mahaprayan or Leela Samvaran, but he cannot go anywhere any more than Radharani or Shri Krishna can leave us or leave this earth. It's impossible. They're omnipresent. They reside within the heart of every soul. And Shree Maharaj Ji resides with each and every devotee physically. Although we lack the ability to see him at this time, but he physically resides with each and every devotee, protecting them and gracing them, and we can feel his presence here and in some ways in a more in a more acute way in Mangar, in Guru Dham Mangar. Although he is always with each and every devotee, but he chose Mangar as his place of dissension, as his hometown and headquarters, and his presence is vividly felt there in Mangar, even today. So his presence is still, in some divine way, still established there in Mangar, and in a subtle way with each and every devotee in this world, whether it be a devotee who met him and knew him during the time that he was visible here on earth, or so-called, quote-unquote, new devotees who didn't get to meet him physically during this avatar, but he's just as much, every bit as much with those devotees and gracing them just as much or more as those devotees who got to meet him. In other words, although we use the words Leela Samvaran and Mahaprayan, but in as far as practically speaking, his avatar is not finished because his grace is still available and devotees can avail themselves of his grace and experience his presence every bit as much today as during the time that he was actually visible for us on this earth. So these are a few concepts to keep in mind since we're commemorating this Mahaprayan Diwas. But this Mahaprayan Diwas is not a goodbye to Shree Maharaj Ji. It's just another reason to remember him. Every Hindu festival is just a special reason to remember Radha and Krishna, even though you're supposed to be remembering them every day. In the same way, Sharad Purnima, when we commemorate Maharajji's appearance day, and Mahaprayan Divas, when we commemorate Maharajji's disappearance day, these are just good excuses to remember Shree Maharaj Ji. It doesn't mean that we're actually saying goodbye to Shree Maharaj Ji, and it doesn't mean that we don't have access to him anymore. It's actually a beautiful divine Leela that Maharaj Ji performed to reveal more of his divinity at the quote-unquote end of his avatar during this particular avatar. But as Shree Maharaj Ji himself has said, the divine Guru never leaves his devotees, not in this life, not even in the next life. If we die before reaching our goal of getting the divine vision of Radha Krishna in this life, Maharaj Ji has said that the Guru, the same Guru, will be with that devotee in the next life. Will come to them in another form, or in the same form, however it may be, whatever may happen, that Guru is still with and still gracing and protecting those devotees up until God realization, no matter how many lifetimes it takes. So this is where I'll conclude my lecture tonight. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki